Hey guys, how's it going? Um, well, so I made all the Reader's Digest journals, just listed them earlier this evening, and I okay, I cut up a lot of paper. So I have this drawer in one of my filing cabinets where I store, you know, extra papers from journals and um, just like offcuts that I think would be okay to use for something, if it's, more than a few inches wide, I'll save it and use it in minis and things like that. But you know what? It's starting to get out of hand and I need to start clearing out my filing cabinets a little bit since I'm packing to move. So I thought I have some other stuff that I've been wanting to repurpose, file folders, things like that, and other things that I picked up at the thrift store that I thought looked useful, So I thought, okay, I've prepped a bunch of the papers and I thought I would turn the camera on and just sort of go through what my thinking is for using up some stuff, okay? Using up scraps and repurposing things that are made from paper. So one of the things is this, I always buy these at the thrift store. They're usually like 49 cents or something, but I just love them. I think they're awesome. And I love the writing on them. And, it's all usable paper. You know what I mean? I suppose I could use it to organize, but, I don't organize that much. So I'm going to take this thing apart and we'll use some of that. And then this was a set of greeting cards. A set of greeting cards was in this, and I thought it was really pretty. So I got these at the thrift store. I actually bought I don't know, 4 or 5 of these, and then I started saving these because I thought, I could use that. And then also I happened across a bundle of file folders. Actually, one of my mom's friends sent these to me. So I would have never bought these. I would have never paid what these sell for. These are Cavallini file folders. So it was actually a pretty big stack of them. So I want to try to use some of these, make some tags and maybe some little mini journal covers and that kind of stuff. And then I found this box, or it was like it was all wrapped in shrink wrap. This is for boxes. These are boxes. And gift boxes. So I have these in my drawer. I have another drawer that has all of this kind of stuff in it. Things that could be used for journal covers or for tags. Stuff that's like heavyweight paper, And then I always save covers to paperback books that, especially vintage ones that I think are kind of interesting or, and they're in decent shape. Even if they're not in decent shape, I still save them. And those kinds of things go in that drawer also. This was the cover for, it was a gardening record book. Okay, so I just cut it up. I used a lot of the pages in the Reader's Digest, and then also, I have some that I've saved. So then these are just like offcuts from file folders. I have this gigantic tub full of these. So I really want to try to use some of them. And then these are some other this is from some other file folders that Laura sent me. And those are cool. These are the cool old vintage ones. The Pendaflex. I just love the army green color of them. It's a little different. See, it's a little different color. Anyway, it's like pea green. Anyway, so I'm just kind of going through all this stuff and trying to, pull it together into some little mini journals or something. And so I've cut a bunch of stuff and trimmed a bunch of stuff. So let me kind of show you I made 4 piles. Okay, this is kind of similar to what I did when I made the big journals. So I pulled out this box. Hold on. I have this tub that is where I just kind of put like extra stuff from journals, leftover stuff from when I made journals, because I think it's still useful, right? So I pulled out a whole bunch of things out of here that I thought were, you know, still useful. Like I saved this from some pamphlet, you know. So I just went through here, and anything that was kind of garden related, missed that, or, you know, nature, butterflies, whatever. I pulled that stuff out. There's a few things I missed, actually. See, I saved this stuff. This was like from a notebook. You know, that stuff is usable. And I feel like, you know, junk journaling for me started out of a desire to repurpose, right? And I feel like that's basically what it is for most of us. It's just, you know, wanting to repurpose things and not throw it away, not throw it in the garbage. So there's a few things that are, you know, I'm not pulling out, but you get the idea. This is kind of my like junk drawer of paper stuff. Anyway, so as I made this giant pile of papers and book pages and things like that. And, you know, that can be kind of overwhelming when, you know, you just go, okay, how am I going to turn this into a journal? So basically what I did was, the pages that I had cut for the Reader's Digest were 8 by 7 at their largest. Okay. So, you know, I did have some offcuts that I didn't wind up keeping, but, you know, whatever. Anyway, so those pages that I had left over, what I wound up doing was just cutting them in half, some of them. I cut a lot of those in half. And so I wound up with a lot of pieces that were, what size did they wind up being? Well, they wound up being about like this. Okay. So about that size. And anyway, so as I was cutting those up, I made 4 piles. Okay. So the first pile is papers that don't have pattern on them. Okay. They're just like plain white or craft or, you know, something like that without any print on them. And that just all goes in one stack. Okay. And then the other pile, don't look at that. The other pile was book pages that had images on them or something like that. Okay. Colorful stuff, things that have like the Edith Holden pages here. These are, you know, offcuts from the Wildflower book, you know, things that were kind of like more decorative. Okay. Like music paper, scrapbook paper. These are some images that I had printed that I didn't wind up using in the journals. So that's what all those are. These are all images, like floral stuff. Some of the papers that I had cut, these were in my origami paper box, even though they're not really origami paper, but they're real thin. Some other pages that are, this is in the wrong pile, maps, you know, that's just a piece of wrapping paper. So you get the idea, right? So papers that are kind of like patterned or something, right? Not necessarily just text, because that's a different pile. So these are some like old vintage receipts that I had printed out a long time ago, and I had them folded in half to go into a larger journal. So I just cut those in half and then folded them in half, right? So those went into this pile, and then just some more book pages that were like, you know, with images and stuff. Okay, so that's my second pile. And then I had a pile where it's like lined or graph papers, things that have lines for writing, like ledger paper, composition paper. That's in the wrong pile. You know, that type of stuff. Even the ledger that has writing on it, I put that in this pile. The engineering grid paper. These are the pages. These are the pages from that book that I showed you that I saved the cover from. So that kind of stuff goes into the third pile. All right. And then the last pile is book pages that are primarily just black and white. Okay. So just text and that kind of stuff. Okay. So I like to do that because that's just sort of how I make sure that I get a good mix when I'm putting together like a mini journal or signatures for a larger journal. I know that this seems like it should be in this pile, but a lot of these pages actually have lines on them. So that's why they wound up in here. It was a conundrum, I tell you. Anyway, so those are my piles. And then as far as covers, yeah, I went a little nuts. So these are from another expandable like file, you know. These are the inside pages, and this is my absolute favorite paper. So if anybody ever has this and they don't want it, send it to me. Oh my God, I'll probably get boxes of it now. Anyways, so I cut this down into 5 3/4 inches tall, and then I left them. The width I wound up working with was I wanted to be able to just use like an 8.5 by 11, right? So I cut these to 4 1/4 wide when they're folded in half, or 8.5 when it's wide open. But these I actually left the little this thing on because I like that, and I thought I could make that a little pocket inside. So these are supposed to just be like super simple, easy little notebooks that, you know, you could make just, you know, with a sewing machine or even a stapler, or just stitch them together with that 2-hole pamphlet stitch, right? So those, and I thought I could do some kind of just very, very simple little image on the front. Okay. And I just happen to have a whole bunch of these book pages that I could use on the front of these, and then maybe just like a label or something. And I think they'd be really cute. Okay. So those are the file folder ones that are plain. Okay. And then, okay, pretend you didn't see that either. So then these are the Cavallini ones. These are these were nice and heavy, hard to fold. So I actually scored them. And there was like one of this pattern in there. It's kind of cool. It's like peach color. So I got 4 covers out of 1 file folder. And then there was this one. So there was one of each of those. And then there was a whole stack of these ones. So I cut these down. I left the little tab on them. I might wind up cutting them off, but I don't know. I don't think I will. I kind of like them on there. I sort of like those. I think I'm going to round the corners though. So then I have these. So this is a whole other, like, you know, stash of little folder covers. So then I had done a bunch of those. I went crazy stamping. This is the Distress Oxide ink that is stamped on that paper. On that paper I said was my absolute favorite. I just used the Distress Oxides on that print, stamped out a whole bunch of the label shapes, and then just cut them out. And so I think what I'm going to do is just do one of these on the front of each one, because I think it looks really cute, you know. And I could put it at a different location or whatever on some of them, or I could do it like going this way, or, you know, sort of switch them around. So I want to do one of those on the cover of each of these. If I wind up using a label with the image, I might not use that, but you know, I might. Who knows? Who knows? Or maybe use one of those on the inside, like on that pocket. So anyways, these, I'm just going to cut them apart. Let me just kind of, so you can see how it's like glued right there. So I'm just going to like see how hard it is to pull that apart. Yeah, I'm going to need to cut it. Different scissors. They put these things together so that you can't take them apart, I guess. I don't know. Let's see. I'm trying to salvage it. I'm not trying to cut it, to rip it to pieces. They use some serious glue on this thing. Okay, I'm just going to do it this way. Actually, I'm going to use an X-Acto. Much easier. Yeah, there's some serious gluage in there. So yeah, I guess that's kind of what I'm trying to do, is repurpose stuff, you know. And I mean, I know like you can use scrapbook paper, cardstock, or whatever, and make journal covers really cute. But I like to at least try to use something that I'm saving from a landfill, you know. So let's see. I'm trying to carefully pull this off without ripping the front. Okay. All right. So that's something that I think I can work with. Oh my goodness. Look at all this. Yeah, they use some serious like double stick tape on this is what it is. Okay, let me get this side off. When cutting with an X-Acto, they say never cut towards yourself. Okay, so that must have been the side that was holding the envelopes, because that was like, had a whole bunch of stuff inside of it. Let me pull that off. This one. Takes a certain amount of determination sometimes to pull this stuff apart. Okay, so there's this slit that's cut in this side. And there's no slit on that side. Is there one on this side? No. Okay, so there's only one of these panels that has that slit in it. So I could still use that. I don't know if I can necessarily use it for a journal cover, but I can definitely make some tags out of that. So this one, let me get my paper cutter out, my paper trimmer. I do need more room on my desk. I need a big L-shaped desk is what I need. Maybe after I move, I'll try to set up an L-shaped desk. Okay, so I'm just going to cut this up to the slot. Trying to cut it straight. Okay. So that's all usable, you know. It's kind of glossy, but yeah. So let's cut this one. And I could just make some tags with this. It doesn't even necessarily need any embellishment on the front, right? It's just, I don't know, it's just pretty. So then let's try to cut this one so that I can salvage the most real estate. Like that. Just a cute little tag. actually, hang on. That's actually kind of cute, just like that. I don't know. I sort of like it like that. Okay. And then let's kind of cut this and clean it up so I know exactly what I have to work with. So this would actually be kind of cool to make a full-size journal out of, except for I kind of damaged it right there because see, it already has that, it has those score lines in it already. Maybe the other ones that I cut apart, I'll try to be a little more gentle. So there's some writing right here that I definitely want to pay attention to and maybe try to cover up. Anyway, so this actually turned out pretty good. I'm happy with that. I ripped this part, so it's super, super thin right there, and then I kind of damaged it there, so I'm going to cut that part off. Let me cut this first, so I have a straight line to use as a guide. And then, yeah, kind of got creased a little bit. But I can cut this up and back it with something so that I have no fingernails. Back it with something so it's a little prettier, you know. But I think I'll use this to make some tags. And then this one, just want to clean it up. I'm just making sure that all my edges are straight. That's all. Okay, I guess there's a little slot right there, but that's not a big deal. Okay, and then right there. That's okay, because I think I'm going to back this anyways with some other type of paper and use that for tags. So I've got one piece here that I think is going to be great to make a cover. And so these covers I made to 5 3/4 tall by 8 1/2. So that when I fold it in half, it winds up being 4 1/4. So this is the dilemma. If I leave that on there, that could be used as a little pocket or a tuck spot on the other side. Yeah, I'm going to just cut it off because see, that's the part that had that writing on it anyways. So anyways, I don't know. I think about like this kind of stuff, like if I should try to save this and use this for little hangy tags or even like, you know, little micro tags like I like to make. But, you know, I can't save everything. I cannot save everything. Okay, so this will be a nice little journal cover. It's going to have to get some kind of liner, though, because of that. So, but anyways, I just kind of wanted to talk to you guys about, like, my thought processes on this kind of stuff. So, like, this one, it's got all these creases and score lines and stuff. So, what I do is I try to think about, like, how I can use those to my advantage. And if possible, you know, like could this be the spine of a journal, you know, but it's not really wide enough for the size that I'm making. I could make them into like some like tall, skinny little notebooks. Actually, I think that's what I might do. So since this is not going to fit into my trimmer, I'm actually going to cut that right along this score line carefully. Okay. And then I'll do the same on this side. This bundle is actually lids and bottoms. So some of them are a tiny bit smaller than others. Okay, and then it's hard for you guys to see it probably, but there's another score line right there. It's kind of hard for me to see it actually. Okay, there. Okay, and then cut this one off. I was thinking I should just go ahead and live stream, but then I don't know. The live stream videos don't tend to show up in like when people have autoplay turned on. So yeah, so that was why I decided not to. Okay. So I'm going to cut this now. I think that would be a cute little journal cover, you know, just a tall, skinny little notebook. And it's worth it to me to do that because I've got a bunch of these, so I could probably wind up making at least 6 of these. And if nothing else, I can use those as, like, you know, gifts in orders, you know. Okay, so then the rest of this, I'm just going to sort of trim it up so that it's squared up and usable. So it's just a pretty piece of paper now, you know. Do this side. There's a score line right there that I'm trying to eliminate. Okay, so this has like glue on it right here. But I don't know. I think I can probably get it off. Or back it onto something else. Back it onto some other kind of paper maybe. I'm going to cut this. And then, yeah, that glue is kind of annoying. Let's see. It actually just chips right off. So I'm just trying to get like the glue that's sort of sticking up off a little bit so that I can glue some other kind of paper on here. Even just like a really thin, you know, like pattern paper or something, or even just like coffee dyed paper maybe. And it'll be smooth. So, I mean, I could even just sand it a little, you know, just to kind of knock down that glue. It's kind of hard. So, and then just cut these up just like I did that other thing and just make little, like small little tags with it, you know. So that's usable. And then same thing with the other side of the lid. I think this was a lid. Okay, so I'll work on that, not right this second, but yeah, so it's just pretty paper. Anyway, so this goes into my stack of cardstock stuff that I want to use for tags. Okay, I store that stuff like in a rubber band, and then it goes into its own special little bin. Yeah, so anyways, I'll just score that, and then I'll use it just like I'm using these, you know. And since I've got, well, at least I'll be able to do at least 3 like that. If I don't demolish, technically I could get 2 out of this side, or out of this one, and 2 out of this one if I'm careful when I take it apart. Okay, so that's a project. This is another project. I just want to run through really quick how I put these little notebooks together. Oh, and then I was going to show you the way these things are put together, an easy way to take them apart. So the back is actually like really thick and weird. It's like real heavy. So I don't know. I try to think of ways to use it, but sometimes it's hard. Anyway, so I usually just cut down the front of these on the inside of the accordion. And then for the most part, you can just tear these apart. See, it's only glued right here. So I tear that part off. It's like folded over and then just glued on to the accordion. Okay. So yeah, so that's just like a cool little thing that you could make into like a little trifold or something like that, you know. You could glue some kind of pattern paper on there, do some stamping on it, or you know, some grid paper, something like that. So yeah, these things are, I don't know, I just love them. And you see them at the thrift store all the time. Oops. I was grabbing 2. I mean, I get like happy when I find one of the big ones, because I just go, oh my God, it's my favorite paper. So silly. Okay. And I've tried to think of things that I could do with, if I don't destroy the accordion part of it, things that I could do with that paper, like iron it or something, or I don't know, but I haven't come up with anything. Okay, last one. So yeah, so the accordion part, really, I'll probably use this to start my fire. You know, I have a box of stuff over there for winter time to use to start fires. I'll probably at least, excuse me, sorry, I'll probably at least use some of this for, you know, something. I don't know, could be a pocket page or something. It's pretty color, nothing else. I don't know about that. This doesn't really, that doesn't really do much for me, that old elastic. Anyways, so that will go in the bin of possible stuff to use. These, I don't know. I have a hard time with this. This could, you know, easily be made into like a little ring bound journal or something. Or it could even just be cut up and made into tags, like with a little eyelet, like I did those other ones. Well, that's coming apart. I don't know. I do try to use this stuff, but this one's like falling apart, so it'll go in the pile. Anyway, so then I'll just trim the ends off of these. Usually I do a couple at a time. Trim that glued edge off. Like so. And then, I mean, you know, this could be cut and made a tag, like just a little tag, you know, maybe cut that corner to match or something. There's actually some glue on there, so I'm cutting it off, but you know, just cut that like that and stick it in a pocket or something, you know. It's also kind of neat to make these into like a little trifold. Where's the, oh, there it is. So just kind of eyeballing it. I guess that's not really a third. There we go. Like that. And then like that. That would be good to just use in a journal or even as a page in a journal with a little flip out, you know. I would probably cut that glue off. But anyways, it's just good paper to use for different things. You know, maybe stitch some images on it or do some stamping or whatever. But I don't know. I just love them. So I keep them and try to use them. You know, you do wind up trimming off little pieces and stuff, but that's the name of the game, right? Anyway, so I'll trim all of these up, and these will go in my bin of things to use. And once I get stuff broken down like that, then I'm much more likely to actually use it. So, so that's what I try to do. Like after I come home from the thrift store, I'll just usually take all the stuff that like I just did, you know, and sort of get it ready. I'm just killing my paper trimmer. I bought this trimmer at the thrift store for like $5, so I don't feel bad if I'm mean to it. That was a little more than I wanted to deal with. Okay. So anyways, yeah, I just put this stuff into its own bin, and then I pull stuff out when I need inspiration, basically. But let's get these little notebooks going. Bins of paper, bins of paper. Thought those red ones would be kind of cute to use for Christmas, you know, those tall notebooks. So I might actually do that. All right, so these ones, I wanted to do some kind of image on the front. I am going to cut these papers up and use them, but boy, I'm just all over the place. Okay, so look, I've got a ton of these. These came out of that expandable folder. There was actually 2 big ones. So what I want to do is just use one of those guidebook pages on the front and, you know, just glue it on there and then maybe add a label and then stitch around, like, and then just stitch around it. So get out my handy dandy glue. I actually broke down and came over to the dark side on the art glitter glue. So I think I will give it a shot. It just looks so fun with that little pointy nozzle, you know. Anyway, so this is the Canada J on this page. Baby wipe. People ask me all the time, why do you use baby wipes? Why do you use baby wipes? Well, for one thing, it keeps my hands cleaner, so I don't get glue. I don't have glue globbing all over my hands. So this is what I'll do. Just glue all these pictures onto these covers. The Cavallini file folder ones, I'm not sure. I think I just want to do those just like the way they are, you know. I don't think I want to put any images on them. I sort of like them just like that. And then maybe add one of those little label plaques, you know. So yeah, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to just glue these on here and then add a label. I've been getting these the Tim Holtz labels at Hobby Lobby because they're like $2.99, and then when the Tim Holtz stuff is 40% off, they're basically giving these to you. So anyways, I've been using those lately. But I always come back to my handy dandy Tracie Fox set of labels. So if you guys have not purchased these, go get them because they're awesome. And you can print them out whatever size you want. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like they come, it's like a full sheet. But then like if I want smaller ones, I just print them 2 to a page. And then I get smaller ones. Or you can even crop the image and make them bigger if you want. Like I did that. I cropped out each color separately. And it's funny. I told her that I did that. She's like, you know, I would just send those to you, that one label, you know. So I was like, oh, okay. Anyways, yeah, I'm not even gonna bother inking it. I'm just gonna. These are supposed to be quick and simple, you know. So a book page, a label, and to be honest, I just want to make it more complicated. So I am going to add, where's that box? There it is. I'm going to add a tab. Oh, I cut some different tabs. Hang on. I made a larger tab like this. Yeah, so I'm going to add a tab on there before I stitch it. So I will prep all of these covers. And then I'll prep them all, get them all to the same point, and then I will stitch them all. And then I will put the pages in. And I'm going to stitch the pages in too with the sewing machine. I'm not going to hand stitch them. So yeah, so I'll get it to this point, okay? And then I'm going to sew around the image, and yeah, I'm going to go right through the middle of the label. I don't care. I don't like putting a label over stitching, so I would rather just stitch over the label. And I think it looks cool. So, oh, you know what? I forgot to round the corner. It's really hard to round corners when you have a label on something or a tab on something. But I'm going to round these corners. I'm going to use the 1/2 inch just because I think it's more pronounced. I don't know. I kind of like it on a folder or on a cover. So since I can't round the corner on the front because it's got that, but I can do the back and then just use my scissors around that one. Okay. So there. Cute. It's so cute. And then I just happen to have my sewing machine handy. God, I just went through all of that craziness with pulling things apart, and I feel like I feel like a spaz right now. Okay. I want to zigzag this, and I want to make it kind of like a really wide zigzag. So I'm just threaded with black thread. Stitch over the tab. Oh, shoot. Dang it. I am a spaz. See what I did? I just stitched the damn cover shut. Oh my God. I'm totally publishing this video though, you guys. So anyways, no big deal. Just cut it open with my X-Acto. Hey, we all do that kind of stuff once in a while, right? And look I like that stitching on there. You have to embrace your screw ups. You know what I mean? It's just an opportunity for creativity, you know? And who knows, maybe I'll just take all the thread out on my machine and just stitch around the whole thing with a blank, without any thread, you know? I don't know. It could happen. Anyways. So stitch around the image again. That's funny. All right. These are supposed to be quick and easy and, you know, no complexity whatsoever. But still cute, you know. All right. That was funny. Okay. So that's that cover. And the tab is stitched on. Look at all of that. That's from the... Oh, well. Oh, well. Okay. And then... once I get all of those covers prepped, here's what I do. I take these piles, set them up before me, set them out before you, and then take the rubber bands off. This pile is a little bit too... Okay, I'm going to make that 2 piles, and this one's going to be 2 piles. Move that stuff. And this one's going to be 2 piles, and I might as well make this one 2 piles. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 12 pages in each journal. Okay, so I'm going to start with, I'm just going to go through, and I'm going to take this like that. Whatever's on top is going to go right into the journal, just like it is, you know, and still alternating solid, pattern, lined, you know, book page, solid, pattern, lined, book page. Okay, so that's 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay. So really what I would actually do, okay, so I don't want to lie, is I would deal these out into piles of 12. Okay. And I would just like do one round from each pile. Okay. And then stack them up on top of each other like I normally do. Okay. And then that is my little pamphlet. And then it fits in there like that. Might need to trim these a little bit. So, you know, I always check that. And then this isn't too much paper that I can't put that into my paper trimmer. You know, I can cut that off. You can also use a rotary trimmer, and that works really good for cutting these edges flush. So you know what I'm saying? Like I would take this pile, deal out 12 piles. And then I would take this pile, deal out in the 12 piles. And then this one, deal out 12, you know, pages. And then this one, and then start over and do that 3 times. So I'd wind up with, you know, 12 pages in each pile. Okay. And then gather those up, rubber band them together, and then do more. And until I've gone through as much of these piles as I can. And yeah. When I run out of something from one pile, then I just use more of the other piles, you know, the other stuff in each one. Instead of cutting into, you know, new paper. If I'm trying to use scraps, I'm not going to start cutting up, you know, new pages. I'm just going to continue like recycling these piles or these stacks into, you know, into those little pamphlet journals. So okay, so that's what I would do with those. I just deal them all out. And then, so I've got like 12 pages here. Really the best way to do this is with a rotary cutter. So the cover, these covers are 4 1/4, just like I thought. But I like to double check, just making sure. So I'm going to cut this to 4 inches. Just so they're just inside the cover. See? It's perfect. And, you know, if you want to make them really cute, you could round the corners on these little stacks or whatever. And then I thought, just to make it more complicated, I have a ton of envelopes. Somebody just gave me like a huge box of these envelopes. These are just like cream color card envelopes. So I want to make sure that, see, it's a little bit wider. So I'm actually going to cut it kind of short. Cut the end off. And then before I stitch it in, I'm just going to notch, one side of this one. Okay, and then I always do the little trim thing. Knock that down. I just don't like that sharp edge. So, and then this will get stitched in with the pages. So one thing that is really helpful when you're using your sewing machine to stitch something like this together is to have a line to follow. Otherwise, it's real easy for you to just kind of get off your line or to get off the crease. You know, it's hard to see it when it's under the sewing machine foot, okay? So one thing that is really helpful to do is to just take a pencil and actually just run it along that crease. You know, it just really helps a lot to make sure that you're stitching straight, because you do want it to be straight if this is how you're binding your book, you know. So then line that up with the needle, and then you want to use a really wide stitch, like a long stitch. Otherwise your pages are more likely to like tear out. So I just go with like a 5 5.0. I think it's, I don't know what that's measuring exactly, but, and go slow, not quite that fast. I use the same size needle that I use for everything, and I don't back stitch it. I just stitch it up. Okay. Yeah. So a little hand stitched journal, and then, okay, I'll use the art glitter glue, and then I'm going to close up that envelope. I like how they even send you a little needle to stick in there. I'll add the link in the description to the bundle that I got off of Amazon. It was actually a pretty decent deal. It was an 8-ounce bottle of the glue, and then a 2-ounce bottle of the glue, and then the metal tip for like 20 bucks. It's kind of expensive, but I don't really think you use a lot of that glue at one time, so it'll probably go a long ways. And then they have a 16-ounce refill bottle that I ordered so that I never run out for like the whole rest of my life. That was pretty cheap. So you'll notice that I just glued the sides of this because I like to use that as a little pocket. So this will be a little pocket, and then that's another pocket. And then there's no pockets on the insides of these. I mean, these particular ones. These will have a pocket, and so I want to make sure that when I stitch these, first of all, that I don't stitch it closed, that I stitch around my image, and then I'm actually going to stitch the pocket closed, you know, because I'm going to have stitching underneath the pocket most likely, and I don't want to stitch my pocket shut. So, you know, I have to make sure that I don't, and then I'll just stitch that closed. These ones I might actually wind up stitching around the whole outside border of the book. I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, so that's just my quick, easy little pamphlet journal to use up scraps of all kinds of things and extra stuff, you know. So it's just a nice little junk journal that you could toss in your purse or whatever. And you know, you could add a closure if you want to. I might go ahead and just add an eyelet here, and then just like a wraparound piece of fabric, or even a rubber band, like a hair tie type of rubber band. Or other options are, I get this, you know, the elastic that comes on a string. Let me just show you really quick. I know, I do that all the time. I talk about all these options, and then I don't actually demonstrate. So the only difficulty with this is that you need a big bite to punch your hole, which mine is right here. So here's how, I'll just show you guys really quick. It's dusty and everything. So there's my elastic. Gosh, this is already an hour. So I'm going with a large size hole. I want to put a hole like right there. I guess if you put it out here, you don't necessarily need a big bite. You could do it out at that end too, but I don't know, I kind of like having it here. So make a mark where I want my hole, and then put an eyelet in there. Hopefully I don't drop it on the floor right now. there. All right, and then smash it. And then I use a little teeny tiny safety pin. There's probably better ways to do this, but you could use a little tiny button, and then, you know, if it has big enough holes to thread the elastic through, you could use a button. I like to use a little safety pin. So I just kind of pull it around just to make sure that, you know, it's enough to fit around the journal. Cut it off, and then I just thread it through this little tiny gold safety pin, and then both ends through that hole, and then the safety pin keeps it from coming out, you know. And then just tie it in a knot. Okay, and then it's just a little elastic closure. Okay, easy peasy, right? Yeah, so if you, I mean, you could definitely put the elastic, you could put the hole out here, and then you wouldn't need the big bite, and then, you know, just, it would wrap around exactly the same. Sometimes I do them like here, and then the elastic, I like when the elastic goes around that way too, like vertically. So anyways, you know, and you could dress these up too, put a little eyelet in the tab and fancy it up. Anyway, so yeah, I will let you guys go. And I love you, and thanks for all your support all the time. Okay, bye for now.